Good afternoon, y'all, and welcome back. So we're here at the park, and by we I mean me and Phil.
Good morning.
It's actually afternoon.
That
brings up another point. I didn't realize you guys enjoyed the good morning so much. It looks like you're stuck with that, and that t-shirt right there has been selling like crazy. The shipments, they're going out. You guys should be getting them by now, and we want you guys to put on your Paving New Paths merchandise and tag us in your social media as you're out there paving new paths. So tag us in our Facebook and our Instagram. We don't care what you're doing. If you're at a national park or walking in the blue store, we want to see you in the merch. Share it with us and we'll share it with everybody. Now, today's video, me and Phil have some work to do. You guys know Mr. Thomas. Well, he's been having some problems with his RV. He also needs to have the preventive maintenance done on his generator. So me and Mr. Phil are gonna head over to Mr. Thomas's house. We're gonna do some preventive maintenance on his onboard generator, and we're gonna try to help him with some of his problems, because we figured you guys would like to know how to take care of your generator yourself, and if you ever have one of these problems, we can troubleshoot it together and you can fix it yourself. So see you at Mr. Thomas's. Welcome to Mr. Thomas's house, and this is Mr. Thomas and Phil and his camper, and we're here to help change the oil in your generator and fix some problems you have. What's that mean?
Well, that means the oil hadn't got here yet. It's on back order.
So, looks like we're here to fix some problems, and we'll change the generator oil and the other maintenance stuff when it gets here. This is Mr. Thomas's. It's a Durango Gold. What model is it? A D321 RKT. You know, people have been requesting that we give them a tour of your RV. How do you think about that?
That'd be good. I'll let you do it.
All right, guys. Do y'all want to see a tour of Mr. Thomas's RV? We're going to try our best not to show you any of the inside while we work on the problems. But if y'all want a tour, let us know. What have you been having problems with your RV right now?
Well, my fireplace has stopped working.
The fireplace stopped working?
And the max fans have stopped working.
Both of them or just one?
Both of them.
All right. So we need to figure out why the max air fans don't work and why the fireplace suddenly start working.
That'd be great.
So Mr. Thomas has these max air fans in his bathroom and his living room, and they have these remotes right here. And when we started troubleshooting, they were not working, but we fixed it. Guess what it was, Mr. Thomas? Do you want to say it? You want me to say it?
I'll let you say it.
So these remotes right here have a battery indicator on them, and his said 2/3, which would make you think they're good.
Right.
So I said, let's change the batteries real quick and see if they work. They are now functioning just fine. So even though that battery indicator right there says 2/3, it may not work. That's an expensive service call. What is it, 129 plus miles now?
Plus miles.
Man, I'm gonna have to get you on double miles, because it's two different service tickets, right?
That's right. Every little thing.
So anyway, now that we've solved the mystery of the max air fans, we're gonna work on the fireplace.
He is loving it.
Hey, what? Mr. Thomas, 2 for 2. The fireplace, as you can see, is working just fine. And I'm glad we decided to play with it before I took it off the wall, because I was convinced it came unplugged in the back. The remote battery strikes again.
I'm hurting.
That's an expensive service call for 3 batteries.
3 batteries, 129 plus mileage.
Aren't you glad you didn't go to the dealership for this?
Oh, most certainly. I was really embarrassed.
So me and Mr. Thomas have an agreement. We have an agreement.
It wouldn't be so public if I did go to the dealership.
So me and Mr. Thomas have an agreement. Every time he has a problem, he calls me first and I'll come take a look at it. And if it's something easy, I'll fix it. If it's something that needs to be covered by the warranty of the dealership, I'll say you should take it into them. Because one time we had an issue with the axle, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I took a look at it and said that's something they should fix, and they did fix it for me, didn't they?
They fixed it. They replaced the whole axle.
I think it's always good to try to fix it yourself before you take it to the dealership, because if he took it there for these batteries, you know how expensive these batteries would be?
Real expensive.
I mean, you put in maybe $6 to fix these problems?
I don't think that they're going to get away with 129 mileage.
Looks like our work is done here, because Mr. Thomas doesn't have the tune-up kit for the generator. But you guys let me know. I probably already showed you way too much. Do you want to see a tour of the inside of Mr. Thomas's camper?
I said we drove this through the Blue Beacon.
How was it? I've always been curious about, is it worth it?
It was worth it because it was nasty.
Yeah, but have you walked around and seen if they scratched or anything?
I haven't seen any scratches.
Because I'm always worried, because some of the trucks I see go through there, that the brush is going to be full of crap and it's going to scratch. Well, you have fiberglass with stickers. I have paint. I'm so afraid of them messing my paint up.
Well, I worry about the stickers rubbed off.
Oh yeah. So this service call is cut short because we don't have the stuff to do the generator. But Mr. Thomas has decided he's going to set this camper up when they get back from their trip to be toured. And we're going to show you the inside, the outside. We're going to even show you the truck he pulls with. And we're going to talk about all the things that have gone wrong with this RV.
The good stuff and the bad.
Because he bought it brand new, and there has been some things that needed attention from the dealership. This video will continue whenever he gets his stuff and we fix the generator. So, it's been a few days since we were over here at Mr. Thomas's house, and today we're gonna work on his generator. But before we get started, me and Mr. Thomas were talking last time we were over here, and I asked him, when will your maintenance kit be in? And he actually said, I actually don't know. I ordered it 6 weeks ago, and it still says it's on back order. And I was like, you haven't got any shipping notification or nothing? I started looking into it, and everywhere I went online said it was out of stock and back ordered for 6 to 8 weeks. To me, there has to be an answer for that because there's so many of these generators out there. How can there not be maintenance kits available? I know his is an LP model, so it's the 6500 LP. So I pulled this cover off right here, and that right there looks an awful lot like mine. I know the fuel source is LP and ours is gasoline, but it got me looking. The air filter looks the same, the oil filter looks the same, the whole motor looks exactly the same. It's just a 6500 and mine's a 5500. I looked right here on the serial number and it is a HGJAB model. Mine is also an HGJAB model. It's just gasoline. I went to shopcummins.com and started doing some research. And what I found was there's two types of maintenance kits for the LP models. One has a round air cleaner and one has this air cleaner, which is also the HGJAB model. So on their website, they actually have the HGJAB model LP right next to the HGJAB model gasoline. Well, when you click on those, it gives you a parts list of all the parts for the maintenance kit. So I started cross-referencing them. The parts are exactly the same. The air cleaner is the same part number. The spark plugs are the same part number. The oil filter is the same part number. The only difference is the gasoline version has a fuel filter and the LP one does not. So I started looking, and everywhere I went, he was right. There was no LP maintenance kit to be found, but there was gasoline kits everywhere. We ordered up the gasoline kit and it came in 2 days later, and now we're gonna do the maintenance on this generator. So if you have an LP model and you're having a hard time finding the maintenance kit, and you have this same setup right here, and it is the HGJAB model, the gasoline maintenance kit will work on the LP. The only difference is you're gonna have a fuel filter that you don't need. Now I will say the thing I found funny is I called all the RV dealers around here and asked them if we could get maintenance done on an LP generator, and they said no problem. And I said, well, will you sell me the maintenance kit? And they said, we don't have it in stock. And I said, well, how do you have the parts to do the kit, but you don't have the kit for sale? And he says, we just don't have the kit, but we have the parts to do the maintenance. That right there was my first trigger that there is another alternative to these parts besides just the LP specific kit. It's because they know it as well. Maybe you guys knew it, but we didn't know it. And now we have the parts, and we're gonna show you guys how to take care of your generator. Whether it's LP or gasoline, the process is still the same. We're gonna change the oil, we're gonna change the oil filter, we're gonna change the air cleaner, and we're gonna change the spark plugs. So we got our kit off of Amazon, but there is a thing on Amazon you gotta watch out for. There's actually two kits. One that has all these parts right here, and then one that has all those parts plus oil. So when you're doing this, make sure you get the one with oil in it, because this right here won't be very useful if you don't have that right there. So if you're wondering when you should be doing your maintenance on your generator, it's in the user manual, it's online, and it comes with the kit. So for us right now, it says you're supposed to change your engine oil and oil filter and your air filter every 150 hours. And then every 500 hours, you should change your spark plugs, your fuel filter, and adjust your valve lash. Today, because we're in between both of those, we're gonna change the engine oil, the oil filter, the air filter, and the spark plugs. That way, Mr. Thomas is good to go for at least 150 more hours. First up, we're gonna do the easiest thing on this, and that is change the air filter. So, you just pop these 3 clips right here, pull the cover off, and you pull the air filter out of the way. Now here's the old one, and here's the new one. As you can see, they are the same part. And you just put the new one right back in, put your cover back on and button it up. We're gonna fire the generator up and let it run for about 5 to 10 minutes. That way the oil drains out easier. We're gonna drain the oil out of this generator, and they've actually made it really easy. They had this valve right here that you can open up, and there's a tube that comes down here underneath the RV, and it'll go into our catch pan. So all you have to do is open up this valve, and there it comes. And I find if you pull your oil dipstick cap out, it makes it flow a lot better. So we're gonna let that drain, and then we're gonna get ready to take the oil filter off. Now that we have the oil drained, the next step is to get the oil filter off. And the kit comes with this little oil filter wrench, which is awesome because the oil filter is actually tucked way up in there, and it's almost impossible to get without this. So you just put it on there and break it out. Pro tip, once you use this filter wrench to get the filter broken, go ahead and take it off the filter before you take it all the way off the generator, because it will get stuck on the end. You'll have to pry it off. So I use this wrench to break it free, but then I spin it out by hand. So we have the oil filter off, and you can see the part number is 122-0836. And the new part number is 122-0836. Now you can see the part that's actually in here does not look like the one we took off. And I think that's because they might be having a hard time sourcing their own parts too. But it's exactly the same thing and the same part number in a box from Onan. So just know LF16165 is the same as Onan 122-0836. All right, so here's the next thing. Here's the big question out there. Do you guys pre-fill your oil filters before putting them back on? Or do you go ahead and try to fill it through the dipstick? I personally like to fill these up as much as I can before putting it on, because that's that much less oil that I have to put in there in that small hole to get this guy filled up. So we're gonna go ahead and pre-fill this filter and get some oil right here on this O-ring before we reinstall it. All right, so once you get it full, I like to take a little bit of this oil and make sure you rub a good amount on the O-ring right there, because no one likes a dry O-ring. All right, now that we have it threaded by hand, we're gonna go ahead and use our filter wrench to tighten it up. Be sure to not get crazy. It doesn't require a lot of torque to be tight. As soon as it gets tight, just give it one more little snug rotation. Now that we have the new oil filter on, it's time to fill the system back up. You just take your oil and pour it right here in the dipstick hole, and it'll take a while to settle out. So just fill it up slowly, let it settle, and then make sure you keep checking it with your dipstick to ensure you have the right level. Now, if you were just doing your 150-hour maintenance, you're done. You've changed the oil filter, and the air filter. But since we're in between his 150 and his 500, we're gonna go ahead and change these spark plugs. And now this is not really a hard job. It's just time consuming and hard to get to, because one is right here and one is in there. And you have to use a combination of swivels and adapters to get in there. And I'm sure Cummins sells you a tool to make this easier, but we're gonna go ahead and show you how to do it. That way you can do it yourself. All right, we're gonna start on the east side, and the spark plug is actually right back here. You have to take the spark plug wire off, and this is our assortment of things to get it done. Once you get the spark plug adapter on, you can't turn it without having a swivel and a wobble in there. So we're gonna go ahead and get this spark plug out. All right, so this is the part about this job that's not fun. These spark plugs are very long-winded, and you will do this for quite a while before it comes out. And just when you think it's good, it's not. You cannot turn this by hand until it's almost out. So we have the old spark plug out, and it's a BPR4EY. And the new one is also a BPR4EY. So every part that is in the gasoline generator maintenance kit is the same part they sell you in the LP maintenance kit. There's just no fuel filter in it. So if you can't find it, the gasoline maintenance kit will maintenance your LP generators, if it is the HGJAB model. The easy side is done, now the hard side. So this one, you actually have to get the socket and the extension on there first, and then you add your accessories here on the outside because they have this tube in the way. I don't know, I'm pretty sure they made a tool for this. I don't know how else to get to it, because even if you take this cover off, I can't get the cover off because of the heat shield. You can do it, it's just very tedious. So we have both spark plugs changed, and we're ready to fire it back up and test it. We've already verified the oil level is good, so now we're gonna turn it on, fire it up, see if it runs. We'll turn it off, check the oil level, and then we'll fire it back up and let it run for a little while under load to make sure everything is good. So we ran it for a little while, and now we're going to check the oil level, make sure it's still good. You can see it is above the add. We actually probably will top it off a little bit more, but this thing is good to go. We're about to fire it back up and run it under a load with the ACs running, just to make sure it's all good. and then we should be done. All right, we have it running, and we're running both ACs in the RV, and we're gonna make sure under load, everything is still good. So far, it's purring like a kitty. So we ran everything with all the ACs running, and it's all good. Now that we're done, we have one part left over, and this is the fuel filter for the gasoline kit. And since mine's gasoline, I'm gonna take it because he don't need it. If you have time to do this yourself and the skill set, you can do it. Even with filming, this took us about an hour. I think without filming, we could have done the job in about 30 to 40 minutes. It's not that big of a job. If you can get the kit, you should do it yourself, because Mr. Thomas has been paying an extremely high amount of money for someone to change his oil filter, his air filter, and his spark plugs. How much did you pay for this last time, Mr. Thomas?
I think it's $129.95 plus mileage.
Oh, that's the rate I charge you.
That's what I'm saying.
What's the dealership charge you?
It was included the last time.
Oh, so they just included it?
Yeah, they owed me.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if it's included, they got it somewhere.
Absolutely.
So that does it for us here. We took care of some of Mr. Thomas's problems, and we did some generator maintenance for him. Now, I'm sure he's gonna hate that I put it on YouTube about your problems.
Yeah.
He told me he didn't want to, and I said, that's the deal you do with me. If I film it, it goes.
Having a friend on YouTube, that's what you got to live with.
Also, sweet shirt.
Sweet shirt. Oh, and hat.
Well, that's a World Series hat.
That's right.
They haven't won it yet, but they will. Speaking of shirts, we're going to meet with the guy soon to get Phil his own line of shirts. We're going to have some Team Phil shirts. We're also going to have something to do with your chair on them.
Oh, really?
Are you excited?
Yes, I am. I know they are.
Thanks for hanging out with us. I hope this helped you out, and I hope you learned that you can do it yourself if you have the skill set. And if you can't find the LP kit, the gas kit will work. Anyway, guys, love you. See you next time.